Art in churches can be a challenging aspect that develops a variety of thought and expression. As a church, we are going to integrate art to challenge the body of Christ to see beauty, truth, love, and relation through a different lens than just the stereotypical message and worship. The arts have the potential to change and touch hearts the same way a sermon can. The arts can also be challenging and create meaningful discussion that can unite the church body to see the world from different views. A Russian novelist, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, stated, "The only substitute for experience we haven't had is arts." This quote explains a major purpose of arts is to experience something new. As a church, we want members to see Christ through the arts and be able to experience something new because of it. Our church will provide art that aims to display love, relation, and truth. This will be accomplished through art that evokes a feeling of peace or belonging, especially for those who may not have been experiencing love or belonging prior to coming to the church. Art in the church may be a bit challenging to members, hopefully leading to mental and spiritual growth. Through all her work displayed around the church, there will be hidden and or obvious ideas of truth revealed. Other ideas will acknowledge the importance of relations between nations. The idea that through Christ we are all united no matter what our backgrounds, race, or anything else. To ensure a healthy engagement in the arts, elders will talk about presented art to see if it is fitting and truthful to the church. Meetings will be held twice a year and all artwork will be voted on in order for the art to be displayed in the church. 2/3 of the elders must vote and accept the piece. This method is to avoid any form of offensive to the church or those within it, art or heretical art. If the church can healthily engage in the arts, it has potential to heavily impact those who enter the church.
Why is art important to the lives of the general public? Number 1, art improves creativity. When we cook, or sing, or draw, or paint, art allows us to be creative. Number 2, art brings joy. Let's be honest with ourselves. We've never seen someone paint or draw with a frown on their face. Number 3, art allows you to communicate non-verbally. Art is simply a form of communication that uses colors and shapes instead of words. Number 4, art allows you to express your emotions. Art uses the gifts of God. Being able to create art is a gift from God. God gives us all gifts so that we can influence the world around us, and as we influence others, they go on to spread their gifts with the world. 1 Peter 4:10 says each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in various forms. And we think that art is one of those various forms that God has given individuals across the world, and we believe that they should be shared throughout the church. Art is a shared experience. Across the world, art is observed and portrays the beauty of God's creation. As we view the art that is shared with different cultures and walks of life, we tend to understand more, not just about ourselves, but about others. So by putting art in the church, we believe that people will be able to better connect with others of different backgrounds and situations. In the end, making us all more aware of the world around us and more loving of the creatures and creations we share it with.
And finally, we create art because God created art. We are first introduced to God as creator with the phrase, "In the beginning, God created." A phrase so simple, yet at the same time so astounding when considering the implications of the statements. God chose the universe, and us by association, to be his masterpiece. It is our job as his image bearers to follow in his footsteps. We do now as he did before the beginning of time.
What is your name?
My name's Brianna Moore.
Okay. Do you go to church?
Yes.
Where do you go to church?
I go to church. It's in Gas City here in Indiana called Eastview Wesleyan.
Okay. Is there art in your church?
Yes.
What are some examples of the art?
They have like statue of a crosses, stained glass, and there might be like paintings of like Jesus and like the kids' work is out sale around the church.
Do you think art is important to the body of Christ? Why or why not?
Yes, because it gives a chance for people to connect to God in a different way. Like some people are visual, some people are like they listen to it. So a lot of people who like need to see like different stories. It's kind of cool to give them a chance to like connect in a different way.
When you imagine Christian art, what do you think of?
That is a hard question because you can think of so many things. You could think of like I wouldn't say the negative, but like the bad with like him being crucified and like all of that, or you think of like all the miracles he done, so it can be happy, but it kind of just depends on the church and the atmosphere of the people that goes to the church.
And if you could change one thing about art in the church, what would it be?
I guess I would want their art to kind of like connect together, because I think sometimes churches just have random pieces and it's kind of like confusing. So maybe like if they do art, like have like a theme, like an overall like connection where it makes sense. That way it doesn't look like random art just up in the church. It's more like, oh, this connects to this one, and kind of like have a mood setting type of thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
What is your name?
Michaela King.
Okay. Do you go to church?
Not often, maybe once a month.
Okay. Where do you go to church when you go?
Up here in Marion, I go to the river, and then when I'm back home, I go to the church that my stepmom preaches at.
Which church?
Ridgeport Community Church.
Okay. Is there art in either of your churches?
At the river, there's not that much art. Okay, yeah. And then at Ridgeport, there's a ton of art.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some examples of the art?
At Ridgeport, there is a hand-painted representation of Christ coming back, and it shows like him with all the trumpets sounding, and then like all the people coming out of their graves, and it was hand-painted by the founder of the church.
Okay.
And then there's a painting of Christ at the front, and then painting of a lion and the lamb, and yeah, mostly those.
Do you think that art is important to the body of Christ? Why or why not?
I personally think art is important to the body of Christ because, we can't see God, but if we some people love him through art. So art majors who go here, I know that they paint sometimes biblical pictures or something like that. Like in the chapel, they have students who have painted, and I think that represents the body of Christ because that's representing your love for Christ in a way that you can express it, and I feel like that's really important.
Yeah. When you imagine Christian art, what do you think of?
I think of people depicting Jesus in a way that's pleasing, and then maybe stories from the Bible like Daniel and the lion's den, and then I don't know, other stories, Jonah and the whale, stuff like that.
Okay. And if you could change one thing about art in the church, what would it be?
think it needs to be more there. I don't know how to say it. I feel like there's a lack of it. Like, even if I like have it back home, like other churches, like the River, like, I mean, they may have some art, but like it's more like graphics than it is like depictions of Jesus and like stuff like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.